Ladies and gentlemen of the press, and my apologies for giving you a short notice. I know you understand we have been having series of meetings of public accounts. I wanted to inform the country that today I have written to National Cohesion and Integration Commission, which they have duly received my request to investigate public statements made by impeached Deputy President Mr. Rigathi Gachagua that amount to ethnic profiling and conduct to which is prejudicial to National Commission. I have written formally to request the National Cohesion and Integration Commission to investigate a series of public statements made by the former impeached Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, Eacc, which in my respectful view disclose sufficient basis for investigation under the Constitution of Kenya and National Cohesion and Integration Act. The statements made during political rallies, media interviews, press briefings, and other public engagements have generated widespread public concern and considerable public debate regarding their potential effect on national cohesion, peaceful coexistence, and intercommunity relations. In particular, the statement have given rise to allegations of ethnic profiling and the association of members of the Kalenjin community with criminality, insecurity, and organized violence, therefore raising legitimate questions as to whether they fall within the conduct contemplated under the Constitution of Kenya 2010 and National Cohesion and Integration Act. In support of this request, I have annexed the materially presented available to my office concerning one of the impugned statements. While the annexed material does not purport to constitute an exhaustive record of every public statement made by Mr. Gachagua on the subject, it provides, in my respectful view, sufficient factual basis to warrant the Commission's intervention. I further respectfully invite the Commission in the exercise of its investigative mandate to consider any other related public statement that it may lawfully obtain in the course of its investigations. Against the constitutional and statutory framework are respectfully set out below, the basis on which I request the Commission to commensurate. Looking on the under the National Cohesion and Integration Act number 12 of 2008 and Section 13 of the Act prohibits use of threatening, abusive, or insulting words. Section 62 creates offense of hate speech by prohibiting the publication, distribution, and utterance of threatening, abusing, or insulting words or material where such conduct is intended or likely to stir an ethnic hatred. Section 63 further provides for liability where appropriate of directors, publishers, and other responsible who offenses under the Act. Under Article 33, there is a right of expression, but under Article 33(2), it provides that the right to freedom of expression does not extend to propaganda for war, incitement to violence, hate speech, or advocacy or hatred that constitutes ethnic incitement, vilification of others, or incitement to cause harm, or is based on any other ground of discrimination specified or contemplated in Article 27(4). The present request for investigations arises from concerns regarding the pattern of public statements made by Mr. Rigathi Gachagua concerning members of Kalenjin community. Those statements have over the time generated considerable public debate, concern regarding their potential effect on national cohesion, intercommunity relations, and peaceful coexistence. With this request, it's informed by broader context in its principally founded upon the evidence presented, available, and annexed in this letter. 1. Annexure 1. There was a public statement following the alleged abduction of George Koimburi. During that address, the impeached Deputy President publicly alleged that the President, the CS, and Deputy IG of Police, whom he expressly identified as members of Kalenjin community, and constituted a special squad to target political leaders opposed to government. He further alleged that the squad comprised 20 police officers drawn specifically from the Nandi sub-ethnic community and acting under the direct command of the Deputy Inspector General of Police. These allegations publicly identify an ethnic community and a specific sub-ethnic community in connection with allegations of criminal conduct, abuse of state security institutions, and politically motivated violence. Irrespective of whether those allegations are true or false, their public articulation in terms that expressly associated an identifiable ethnic community with such conduct is in respectful view, capable of fostering ethnic suspicion, reinforcing harmful stereotypes, and undermining harmonious relations between communities. Whether those statements ultimately amount to hate speech, ethnic incitement, or any other contravention of the Constitution of Kenya or the National Cohesion and Integration Act is a matter that properly falls within the Commission's investigative mandates. The purpose of this request is therefore not to invite the Commission to reach predetermined findings, but to independently examine annexed material, establish the full factual context in which the statements were made, and determine whether any legal is to be done or investigations. In view of the foregoing, I respectfully submit that the annexed material considered against the broader context of the public statements attributed to impeach Rigathi Gachagua concerning members of the Kalenjin community discloses sufficient basis for the National Cohesion and Integration Commission to commence investigations in the exercise of its constitutional and statutory mandate immediately. This request is made in recognition of the Commission's independent mandate to establish the relevant facts, obtain such additional evidence that may consider necessary, determine whether the impugned statements disclose any contravention of the Constitution, the National Cohesion and Integration Act, or any other applicable law. As the country gradually approaches the next general election 2027, the imperative of safeguarding national cohesion, fostering peaceful coexistence, and promoting responsible public discourse assumes even greater significance. Kenya's electoral experience have demonstrated the profound consequences that ethnically charged rhetoric and divisive public statements can have on national unity, public confidence, and the peaceful conduct of elections. In these circumstances, the Commission's constitutional and statutory mandate to prevent ethnic discord and promote harmonious relations among Kenyans' diverse communities assumes the item's importance. A timely, impartial, and independent investigation into allegations of public statements capable of promoting ethnic profiling, stereotyping, or hostility between communities would not only determine whether any legal violations have occurred, but to also reinforce public confidence in the institutions entrusted with protecting national cohesion and helping safeguard the integrity of the country's democratic process as the electoral period progresses. So what I have requested the Commission to do in the course of investigations against the impeached Deputy President, investigate one, and these are the prayers: investigate the public statement made by Mr. Rigathi Gachagua forming the subject of Annex 1. The evidence are provided with any other related public statements, and it's not exhaustive, that have Commission lawfully obtained in the course of its investigations, not only against the Kalenjin community on this issue of militia, but any other comments that have meant to demean and undermine other communities, where in some of occasions he has indicated that government is a shareholding and form one of the bases of removal from office. Number 2, obtain and review the original recordings, transcripts, media publications, and any other relevant material necessary to establish the full factual context in which the impugned statements were made. Number 3, determine whether the impugned statements disclose any contravention of Constitution of Kenya, National Cohesion and Integration Act, or any other. And therefore, even as the NCIC should not apply double standards. You remember when the CS of Health Mother came up, the NCIC were quick to start investigations. And that is why we're asking NCIC to stop the double standards. They should start by investigating the impeached Deputy President, Mr. Rigathi Gachagua, on many occasions in statements that he has made as inflammatory remarks and incitement against many communities. And I've just given a one example where he has referred Nandi community as a militia community, therefore ethnically profiling the entire community against the NCIC Act. Because when you ethnically profile a community, you are making that community to have stereotypes and to be subjected to discrimination and possible hate within other communities, and therefore it will undermine the cohesion of the country, especially among different tribes. And my final submissions to the NCIC, and they have received my request today in the morning and have submitted, is to investigate and prosecute the impeached Mr. Rigathi Gachagua over violation of NCIC Act and also the Constitution of Kenya 2010. What I'm just saying is that there should be never double standards in terms of a prosecution where a matter and violation of NCIC Act or the Constitution of Kenya. Whether you are a public officer or you are a private citizen, you should be subjected to the same legal process or prosecution. And therefore, even as NCIC does other investigations, they must start by investigating and prosecuting Mr. Rigathi Gachagua before the NCIC Commission. And I hope, with my request to the NCIC, National Cohesion and Integration, I hope he should be summoned in the next 7 days to answer to these charges of ethnically profiling a whole community, therefore creating anxiety and incohesiveness within the Kenyan communities. That is my brief. I have submitted, I have annexed the material evidence to the NCIC, also, and I've made application to the NCIC, which is part of this. This is around 10 pages worth of but I've just done an abridged version of the issues raised, which I thought is salient for the media and the public to communicate. But I'll leave the 10-page and provide other material evidence for maybe for the 40 states and Kenyans to go through. So with those many remarks, allow me to yield there. I know it's been a long day, and I know you have not had lunch, you have not had water. So I think it is important that we leave it there.